live right now. Awesome. So,
Great.
hello and welcome to everyone who's able to join us on this, well, here in Canada, sunny morning. For William, it is Friday evening, and we're just going to quick get the comments. Ben had popped by to say he's out and about, but he may try and get back later. We have Jenny with us. Hello, Jenny. As I always say, thank you to everyone who can join us, but I do know with time zones, work schedules, life, and all the rest, sometimes people can't get here, but a big thank you to Team Rewatch. And today I have William from William's Library. So, hello, William.
Hello.
Now, if you can tell us a little bit about your channel for people who may not have popped by. Hey, Gareth. Go ahead, William.
So, my it's a booktube channel. I also combine it with some shorts of birds that I've observed because I am a bird watcher. I still need to improve my camera skills with going out in nature for the bird watching to catch the birds on camera. Some of
Yeah,
them
it's
are
all a
difficult to
learning
film.
curve.
Yeah, yeah. But the books I read are in the broadest possible categories are science fiction and thrillers. But then when once you look at the books I specifically read, they're also very niche. I do venture outside those other venture into other genres, but those are the big two: thrillers and science fiction. So I have a particular love. I often say it's my bread and butter. Dystopia and alternate histories. I have a whole playlist,
Oh, you
and
froze on
that's
us.
my passion.
Okay.
So yeah. So that's the specific books I read. I have those playlists, but of course I venture outwards to other things now and then. Um, and That's basically it, I would say. So
Okay,
I
so
I have I have those niche interests, genre books, and bird watching.
cool. Okay, so Gareth has just popped in to say hello. Now, again, we were talking before we came live about the differences in times. So for me, it's morning. So I indeed have my coffee. For William, it's evening. And for Gareth, it's lunchtime.
Yes.
So, all the things, and I had said thank you to Gareth. Now you mentioned sci-fi and horror. Yeah?
No, no, no.
No?
Sci-fi and thrillers.
Oh, see? Morning. I heard all right. Sci-fi. Who's your favorite author?
Favorite author. Well,
Or do you have
I
one?
I consider my favorite authors are the authors that I read multiple standalones, three or more, or multiple series, three or more. So within that, I have four favorite authors. Let's
Okay.
see. I remember them, but I have to. Yeah, I remember. So let's
Yep.
see. There was Robert Ludlum, political techno thrillers. There's
Okay.
Harry Turtledove, alternate history. There's Stephen King, horror. And then there's Robert Harris, thriller and historical fiction.
Robert Harris, Silence of the Lambs? I could
No,
be
I don't
wrong.
remember. No, 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 not Silence of the Lambs. That's a different author.
Oh, okay.
Robert Robert Harris wrote other stuff. He wrote Fatherland, which is a classic.
Okay, I've heard
Um,
of that. Haven't read it, but yeah.
so he wrote Fatherland. He wrote some. I've read three of them. I also read Archangel, The Second Sleep, and that's the three that I read by him. The three
Okay.
books that I read by Robert Harris. I want to read more by him because he has historical fiction, so I
Hmm.
really like him. And he's the one author I want to actually contact online but he doesn't offer contact details. He doesn't offer a
Mm.
personal website.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's kind of a challenge for sure, sometimes reaching out. Jenny has a great idea. You need a bird watching sci-fi thriller.
Uh,
Hey, you could be outside with one of your books and,
yeah,
you know, so because people do enjoy nature videos, so combining the two sometime may work. Now, with the bird watching, is that just a hobby that you do, or does that connect in with your job as well? Because you have a pretty cool job at the moment, from the sounds of it.
it connects with my job. It started off as a hobby, and then I got that job, which is a wildlife surveyor at a nature reserve, a forest, a reforestation area. So my job is to basically survey animal activity there, and yeah, yeah, animal activity basically. So I have to list all the insects I've observed, all the birds I hear and see, and
Yeah.
if there's like a footprint of a wild boar, for example, that's I have to write that down.
Yeah.
I go to the conservation area and report those surveys to show how much we've rebuilt a deforested area.
Nice. So that, yeah, exactly. So it's learning about what's come back, maybe what's new or thriving or not, as the
Yeah,
case may be.
exactly.
So that's pretty exciting. Now, in order to know all those birds, do you walk around with like a bird, like a book to identify them? How would you recognize or know what you're seeing or hearing?
So it's a learning process. At
Yeah, of
first,
course.
I made a video of all the bird guidebooks I have. I have 6 books, 6 bird
Nice.
guidebooks. Some of them are from other countries. Um, so it's a learning process. I bring a book and then I observe it. I observe the bird from going through the pages,
Yeah.
right? And then and then online, once I associate the image of the bird with what I've observed, online I can find out what the call is. I do my research on the internet later, what
Yeah.
that bird call is, and then I can say, oh yeah, I also heard that bird call. And sometimes, and also I'm starting to also do a sound record, a bird identification song app on my phone. So I press record, and then all the bird calls will be recorded on the phone, and then the application will identify the species that it positively identified. Unfortunately, the app that I'm using only recognizes about 20% of the bird species in
Mm.
my area.
Because the app was probably designed, say, US or somewhere else where it would be, the regular bird sounds. And that would for sure, hey, cat. And that would for sure make a difference. And I know myself because I love being outdoors and, you know, getting used to what's here. Now I'm lucky because I've been in the same spot 30 plus years. And it's fascinating to see how the species and different things change for sure based on what goes on around the area. Now, when you're
Mm.
doing your job, because you said as well with the insects, that would be a lot more challenging, I would think, to figure that out. I know from my yard because I do things by hand and I'm like literally in the, working near the plants. And it always amazes me that even after all these years, I'm still seeing new bugs and having to identify them either, like you say, through the internet and things. What are you noticing in terms of, well, first of all, how long have you been doing this job?
Right. So for a little over 6 months, No, no,
Okay.
no. In around I started around June
Hmm.
because in April I was bullied out of my old job by a horrible boss.
Yeah.
I was a librarian, and so only for a few months now.
Okay, but still in that time, because that is a chunk of time to be able to observe. And
Hmm.
so with the insects, how do you, I mean, there'd be so many, but how do you make note of them?
Well, I'm not. Sorry,
That's okay.
I'm not a. I'm not a expert at identifying species, so I just write down in my notes. I have an Excel spreadsheet. Red ant observed here. A beetle, rhinoceros beetle here, or
Hmm.
a what was there was something weevil. So there are these fruit eating beetles called weevils, seed weevils. So weevil spotted in the earth here, and
Hmm.
but sometimes I don't know the specific species or subspecies
Yeah.
of the insect. So I can, so if I cannot identify the species, I just write it down in the description, what their color is, their shape, etc.
Yeah. And again, I mean, that would be a challenge because, like you say, you've got your species, your subspecies, and so yeah, you'd really have to make note to figure all that out. Now, first of all, we'll say hello to folks. Kat and Jenny saying hi. What mischief are you causing? Greg, I agree and welcome. Not used to live streams. Oh, now see before sunrise. So Greg must be a few hours behind. It's 9 o'clock here,
Mhm.
so yes, it's probably around 6 o'clock for Greg because I believe he's over in Mountain Time. And Kat is upsetting her little man with towels. I know because we were chatting earlier, because
Mhm.
it's raining there and he hates getting toweled off when he comes inside.
Yeah.
Franny, on the other hand, loves it. Just happened to wake up in time. Yep, because for Kat, it's the start of her weekend. So being up, she's 1 hour behind me. So it's only 8 o'clock there. Probably end up following Franny's lead, napping soon. Oh, rainy, cold days, perfect for catching up on sleep. Agreed.
Mm.
Now, in this area that you work in, William, like you were saying, they're bringing it back. How big is the area, and what are they hoping for?
Um, quite a few hectares, quite a large facility. Sometimes it takes hours to get through them.
Yeah,
So I cannot say the exact number of the size,
that's
but
okay.
so let's see. So in the past, it was like denuded grassland. Itchy nose, I don't know. In the past, it was like grasslands, and then we replanted the trees, and then the forest
Mm.
grew back. And it's next to the coast. It's next to a area of beach. So I also observe seabirds there.
Oh,
And we
nice.
also have at the reforestation area, we also have a facility for raising and releasing sea turtles.
Wow. So many exciting things that you're able to be a part of and do there. Now, your work day, how long would that be?
So my job is not full time. Uh, it's part time. I come there at least once or twice a month for about a week, and I stay at the cabin there, and then I go on excursions into the forest or out into the semi-forested grasslands. Some of
Mm,
the some of the areas are still not fully grown with trees,
right.
and so I go there for like 1 week per month, or sometimes 2 weeks,
Yeah.
depending on my other things I do in my life.
Yep.
And yeah, so I sleep in the cabin, and I go out into the field with my binoculars, with my backpack, with my water bottle, and my notebook, and my phone. Um, I might want to bring a camera in the future. So
Mm.
yeah, that's how it goes. So I stay there for a week, make my observations, and then when I get back, I write in my observations onto my laptop and send it to my boss, the observations.
Cool. Now, through that time, so you were saying you've been watching the birds, you have the insects, you're at the beach, so also with the sea turtles and paying attention to that. You also mentioned tracks of the other animals and boars. Are there any kind of dangers you need to be aware of in terms of the animals and that?
Well, the good news is Sulawesi, where I'm on, has no predators except large snakes like python.
Okay, yep,
So there's nothing like wild cats or anything like that. So yeah, yeah. And one time I had to tell a visitor at the reforestation area, they said they spotted a feral cat, and they thought it was like native to this island. No, no,
right,
no. That's a feral species, and that's doing damage. That's an invasive species, the feral cat, who's
yep,
catching the birds. That cat does not belong in the facility. I had to tell them that.
yeah,
So there is no predators, but there might be poisonous plants or anything, so or something. So I
mm,
got to be careful for that. Also, if you like, if I'm doing an observation from a cliff looking into a valley with a river, I might
yep.
need to hold on tight so I don't fall into a river. So there's that kind. So there's that. But there's
Yes.
no predators except large snakes.
Okay, so with the snakes, would I mean, there because the ecosystem, there's all kinds of different things, and, I mean, even the predators have a huge purpose, as they're finding out here in North America with the wolves.
Mm.
Because there are so many things that the wolves do that the people didn't stop to think about and that whole process. So on your island with no predators, how how does that work so that
That's
things don't explode in terms of numbers?
well, that's why I would say that it's the environment is not made for. If we talk about evolution,
Yeah,
the environment is not designed for fast breeding species. That at least that's my working theory.
yeah,
We do have crested macaques,
okay.
uh, monkeys that look like they don't have a tail, but it's a very very short tail.
Ah.
They're very cute. They they actually blow kisses as a gesture of friendliness. So they do this.
Aw.
So the monkeys, we have them in we have some in cages that we plan on releasing them in the future. And
Mm,
those crested macaques, they're some of the friendliest monkeys in the world because they don't have any natural predators.
yeah.
My theory is the island is not meant for fast breeding species.
Yeah, so that definitely makes sense. That's interesting. Okay, I'm just gonna because I know Kat would love to just play with those monkeys. Okay, so Forest Beach. Okay, so Jenny is home. What trouble are you causing? All right, here we go. Oh, she's going to see Project Hail Mary. Yeah, I've been hearing a lot about this, but have you read the book or seen this movie, William?
Nope.
Yeah, me either. I know a lot of people are currently talking about it, and I'm gonna guess, and someone can correct me in the comments. They were talking about it last night on Dave and Gareth's live stream with Nicole. If I
Mhm.
remember correctly, it's the same author who wrote The Martian. I still have to read The Martian. It's sitting on my shelves. I picked up a copy, but I don't know anything about Project Hail Mary other than a lot of people are chatting about it. Yeah, and Jenny finally has some time off. Forest by the beach sounds awesome. Get to see the water while hiding from mean sun under the trees. Yeah, Cat is not a sunshine person. She's very pale skinned, burns easily. Oh, abandoned to see her BF. Oh, she's gonna go watch Project Mary on her own. How dare. Trip should be good. Oh, there, nice break. So that's always a good thing. Oh, good question. Have you seen a lot of sea turtles? I've only seen them in videos. Agreed. So tell us about the sea turtles, William.
So we're trying to create the safe space for them to thrive. So at first we have these like uh, sand enclosures where it's fenced in, where
Yep.
the eggs are put in a safe place to hatch, because predators like now, like I remember what I said. There's no predators.
Yeah, there's,
I was only half right. I was only half right because birds swoop down on baby turtles
yep,
heading towards the ocean.
yep,
Now, like gulls,
yeah,
seabirds. Now, the um, the turtles are raised in an enclosure in a enclosed space by the beach, so that they can hatch. The eggs can hatch and they go out.
right.
Sometimes the mother turtle, the really large ones, the really large tortoise, like the leatherback,
Yep,
uh, come to the beach, lay their eggs. You might have seen some documentaries where while they're laying their eggs, they're in like a kind of trance like state because they do it instinctively. They dig
right.
a hole, they lay their eggs, and then go out to sea.
Yep,
We collect those eggs, put them in an enclosure where the turtles can hatch before they're set free into the ocean.
right.
Hopefully, in the future, we don't need to do that anymore because the turtles are thriving.
Yeah. Well, and in order to do that, right? It's a whole big global process because of where they go, the condition of the oceans. Like there's so many ripple effects, right? It's
Mhm.
not just them getting to the ocean. And I know here there are certain things along the beaches because again, with all these vehicles and whatnot, there's just so many ramifications of what humans do and the impact overall, but it's awesome that you're able to be part of that experience. Now, have you ever been able to watch them head to the ocean, William, or
Um, there
and how
was one.
often do they go?
Sorry.
How often? Like it's a once a year type of thing, right? You would just have
Yeah,
a
yeah.
small
Once
window?
a year. Once a year. My like I said, I'm the observation person.
Yep.
Maybe in the future I might catch a rare event and see the turtles hatching, but so
Mm.
far not yet. That's because that's not my
Yep.
department. But hopefully, so like what I was saying, right now, up until this point, I've only done daytime observations.
Oh, okay.
Nighttime observations is a whole different field altogether. I
Yep.
hope to get there in the future, but I will need, for example, a proper guide, and I will need a flashlight, and so I can observe the owls and the night jars.
Ooh.
And it's usually at night when the large turtles come to lay their eggs, and when the eggs hatch, when the small ones go out, it happens very often at night. Sometimes in the day, but when it happens at night, it's difficult to catch. I haven't done that yet.
Yeah. Well, and night is probably safer for the little ones because most of their natural predators wouldn't be around at night. I
Mm.
mean, the owls, maybe some of the others would still aim for them, but nature nature's smarter than humans. She's kind of got things figured out, but well, the weather, she's a little nuts at the moment,
Yeah.
but yeah, that would be awesome to see. Is oh, there you go. Is there anything that you get excited to see?
Um, so I haven't done any night observations where I am.
Mm,
I'll answer the question. So I at the campground where I am, the cabin which I stay in, when I hear the scops owl, which is a really small owl, which
mm,
is actually our regional mascot, the local culture here, that's like their iconic bird. Like for the United States, it's the bald eagle.
yeah,
So, like our local mascot bird is this scops owl, and I get really excited when I get a chance to see the scops owl, which is interesting. At the cabin, we've created an interesting little ecosystem. So when we have our meals cooked in the kitchen,
mm-hmm,
the other rangers, there are people who are like guarding the area and who are doing the things like planting the trees. And then there are people conducting experiments with vegetables and other plants.
mm,
So I'm not alone in the reforestation area.
yeah,
So anyway, we have our meals, the food scraps, because they are organic, they're not plastic. The
yeah,
food scraps fall to the ground, and that attracts mice. And then the mice come to the campgrounds, which also attracts the owls.
yeah.
And then the owls are perched in trees right next to our cabin, and then we get to observe it, and we flash a flashlight at them, and they don't
Oh,
fly away. So they're not afraid of humans. And
well,
so
they're
that
getting
gets
used
me
to you.
really excited that I get to see the scops owl at our campground.
Yeah. Wow, that would be exciting. And yeah, like you were saying, there's so many other people to this whole project as well, because,
Mhm.
you would need people who are doing the planting and all the rest of it. And then
Yeah.
that whole cycle happens. So that's pretty cool. It's exciting see. Maybe that person did you a favor, William, because look at all the exciting things you're experiencing
Yeah, yeah.
versus being in the library reading about it in a book. You're out
Mhm.
there firsthand getting to see it. So,
Yeah.
sometimes there's that silver lining that didn't seem like it at the time for sure. Who's gonna who's gonna keep you out of trouble? That's to Jenny. Do you mean chicks? But Greg always keeps me on my toes. We'll go with roosters before misters. Snakes are good cardio, not as much fun as climbing. Get the heart rate up, get my steps in, getting out of the way. Now, with that as well, you were saying you have pythons, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Now, is there a danger for you as a human with these pythons? Because the pythons, are they the ones who go up in the trees, or is that boas, or both?
I think both. Yeah, they go up in the trees.
Okay. Do you ever see one hanging down, waving his head,
Uh,
howdy?
I saw one once. I saw one once in the forest. We saw it up in the tree. Uh, a big. Either I don't remember. It was a grayish, yellowish color. It was a really
Okay.
large snake hanging from the branch, or around curled around the branch in a tall
So,
tree.
yeah, and you'd have to be mindful because their skin would blend
Hang
in
on a
with
sec.
the
Hang on a sec.
trees. Yep.
I'm busy. I'm busy. Okay. That's my wife. That's my
No
wife.
worries.
I'm all good. I'm all good. I'm all good.
Okay. So the snakes, they would blend in with the tree, would they not? Their skin color? Like, do they kind of camouflage or do
Yeah.
they really stand out from, especially new growth trees?
The brightly colored ones. It depends on the tree that they're perched in.
Yeah, of
For one,
course.
and and sometimes there's what we would call morphs. So when in the animal kingdoms, the color of an animal isn't a color of one specific animal species isn't always the same.
Right.
Like for example, you get albinos, you
Yeah.
get mutations. So sometimes I will see a specific species of bird, for instance, and I say, "Hey, I've seen birds that look exactly like that, but that color is off."
Right.
So sometimes most of the snakes could, I would say, yes, blend in with the tree, but there are these unusual cases, like
Mm.
like humans and animals with rare diseases, etc., etc. So
Yeah.
there's sometimes these interesting, unique cases.
Okay, cool. And there was something I was just oh, because we talked about you don't have to deal with daylight savings time,
Yeah.
which is nice. Do you have seasons in Indonesia? Or is it all you're considered tropics? Yes?
We have two seasons.
Okay.
The latter half of the year, uh, the latter half of like starting in August or something to a little bit into the next year. I
Yeah.
don't remember. It's not exactly 6 months at a fixed date. We don't have a fixed date like
Okay.
when you
Yeah.
have the seasons in the northern or southern hemisphere. We don't
Yeah.
have a fixed date for the seasons, but it's usually rainy season and dry season. The dry season is when it's and we're still in the rainy season, but it's unusually hard to rain. So the dry season is when there's a lot of hot sunshine, and
Yeah.
then yeah, so it's very dry, and then the riverbeds go dry, and
Mm.
then certain plants thrive in that environment. And then there's the rainy season where other plants thrive. So you see other different plants because it's a lot of heavy rain. So there's thunderstorms and the thick rain.
Yeah.
So it's hot and sunny or very overcast and rainy. And they overlap, of course. There could be rain in the dry season and
Yeah.
hot days in the rainy season, but it's clustered into two seasons where there's a lot of rain or there's very little rain.
Now, do you notice any changes in the color of the animals through those seasons? And here's why I'm asking, and it could be a predator thing. Now,
Mm.
here we have cardinals, they're the bright red birds, and the males are always bright red 12 months of the year. Our blue jays are blue and white, and they stay the same. But we also have little gold finches, and in the summer months, the males are a brilliant yellow. Like you can easily tell the difference between the male and the females. But in the winter months, the males aren't as bright and it's harder to identify male female because their colors are muted. Do you notice those kinds of changes with the birds and even insect species in your area?
Um, Changes according to season or time of year. Not in color change, not as color coded change, but
Right.
in times of year or the weather. We might say during heavy rain there's less birds, or during sunshine there's more birds, and what time of day. So their presence, the
Mm.
weather can dictate their presence, but
Yep.
they haven't. But it doesn't dictate their colors. No.
Appearance. Yeah. Now, do you have migrations? So some birds are there just for a little part. Like here we have the cardinals, blue jays, finches year round. But our little juncos, they're little black on the top, little white chests, they're only here for certain times of the year. Same with the robins. They only come in the spring and summer, and then they travel elsewhere. Do you have different migrations?
Yes, in the early months of January and February, and when there is winter, in
Mm,
the hemispheres, in the north and the south, when there is seasonal changes in the hemispheres, then sometimes we see winter birds here in the tropics,
mm.
like the yellow and gray wagtails. So the wagtails, the ones that you move their tails up and down as they walk like this,
Yeah,
it's always wagging. The wagtails and the Chinese egret from China,
yep.
they come during the winter months here. So and then the rest of the year I don't see them.
Okay. Now, do you have other species that would migrate or not? Because how far are you from the coast, William?
I'm so the facility that I work at is on the coast. I am in the in I am my home is in the interior, in the hills, in the mountains.
Okay.
Um, so when I go to work, like I said, I go there once a week, once a month for a week, and I do my surveys. That's on the coast.
Mm.
I am inland in the mountains. Um, there are there are some birds that can only be observed here, but not too many. There are some mountain birds, but
Okay.
mostly we share almost all of it with the coast. But there are a few mountain birds. Coastal birds, other than seabirds, they still go into the mountains as well.
So it sounds like it's quite diverse on the island. Now, you said Indonesia is three islands
Three time
combined,
zones.
three time zones. How many islands make up Indonesia?
Over 17,000, I would say. Um,
Wow.
oh, a few, a lot. Only a minority of them are actually populated, but
Okay.
thousands and thousands of islands.
So some of them, are they quite small then, William? The ones that aren't inhabited?
Um, there are. It's actually an exciting prospect. There are, there is potential to finding new species on isolated islands
Mm,
where there is plant life. There
yeah.
is potential to find those in the uninhabited islands, but we also have to look into the interior, like the interior of Borneo. I'm not
Yep.
on Borneo, but in the interior of Borneo, they're always making new discoveries.
Wow. And hopefully not too many humans end up settling there because then you end up with I can't the Tasmanian devil. I think is that New Zealand, and then
Uh,
ended up didn't go so well with so many humans and all of that.
mm,
So I mean there's the other thing that you need to be careful of. Now here's the other thing. Um, are there any potential humans already settled there that people haven't discovered yet? And the rules have changed that if they find them, they're not allowed to make contact anymore, which is a good thing.
oh, no, not in Indonesia. That's in India. You're thinking of an island in India. I forgot the name,
But there's
where
still a
the natives
number of
throw spears
islands.
at people.
Yeah,
Um, Not in Indonesia. In Indonesia, everyone's contacted. Everyone knows each other, but there are isolated communities where not a lot of news comes out.
right.
So the outsiders can technically go in, but there's a lot that we don't leave. A lot of stuff that we don't know what's happening behind the scenes.
Yeah.
So, for example, in the mountains in Papua, there is still some separatist rebels.
Okay. But on some of these uninhabited islands, could there not be people who are there and have yet to be discovered or left alone, as the case may be?
Um, I'm going to be honest with you, Elaine. That's beyond my field of knowledge. But I
Okay.
will say this. I will say this. The last Japanese holdout of World War II, soldiers that refused to surrender,
Yeah.
was found on an Indonesian island in December 1974. So the
Wow.
last Japanese holdout was on an Indonesian island.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's quite possible. And I'd kind of like to think they'd be able to have their own little island left alone and not have to deal with any of the the other stuff.
That would be nice. That would be nice. But like I said, I honestly don't know.
Yeah, it's hard to say. Now, your island, it sounds like it's very diverse. You've got coast, you've got mountains, you've got valleys. Are there any volcanoes around you? Like, I don't mean near you, but because that's how islands are
Yes.
formed.
Yes. In fact, we are in one of the most volcanically active areas here in Indonesia. I have like around my hometown,
Yep.
I can see like 3 to 6 volcanoes. Very,
Wow.
very active region. We get the occasional earthquake here. We've built it so that we're at a safe distance from any eruption. There
Yep.
is one active volcano very close by. When it
Yep.
does erupt, occasionally our town gets covered in volcanic ash, and at night we can see the magma, the lava flowing
Yep.
out. Yes, yes. Not frequently, so it's not a regular thing. But
Yeah.
once every few years, our my hometown gets covered in volcanic ash, and at night, at a distance, we can see the lava flow. Yes.
Wow. Now, what do they do to clear away the ash? Or like, is it a thick layer or just kind of like snow would be for us without the benefit of melting?
So we have to go out with masks, so
Mm,
don't breathe in the air when we go out.
yep,
And so yeah, it's volcanic ash is the vital. There's a lot of road closures.
mm,
I don't think the government has thought too long and hard about this, like emergency contingents, because when those eruptions happen, there's a lot of roadblocks because of the ash, like the line of sight,
yep,
and the roads are not suitable for driving through when there's the ash falling.
yeah, of
So
course.
once the ashes stop falling, there is people clearing the ash. In fact, I think I still have some old photographs of my mother's home where my brother and I are literally sweeping the volcanic ash at on the side of our swimming pool.
Yeah, no kidding. Well, and that would impact your plant growth and everything as well,
Yes,
because
yes.
the coverage of that. Now, would any of that get down to the coast, or are the volcanoes kind of more in the center of the island?
Um, the ash
And
can
again,
travel a long way.
guesstimate.
The ash can travel a long way.
Mm,
So we were affected by volcanic ash last year because of a volcanic eruption on another island, the smaller one.
right.
So it can actually travel a long way. It depends on the amount of rain coming down, and it depends on the direction of the wind,
Yeah.
what areas get affected. But the ash can travel a very, very long way.
So, like for us with snow and heavy rain and that impacts so many things, for you, it's volcanic eruptions.
Yeah.
Now, do you ever have to, and again, just because I don't know the area, but I mean, over here it's hurricane tornadoes. Do you ever have, or are you in the path of cyclone season? Is that
No,
kind of
no.
a
In
thing
fact,
over there?
no, it's not a thing. It is a thing in the Philippines.
Oh, okay.
So sometimes we get hit with some of the tails or some of the
Mm,
lines from the hurricane. We don't get hit directly, but
right.
sometimes the edges of the hurricane can get reach our coast, and then we can get the very hard winds.
Yeah.
So that happens, but we don't get hit by cyclones here. We don't have cyclones, hurricanes, or typhoons. Not where I live,
Right.
but we do have hard winds when the Philippines are hit.
Well, see, and that's similar to here in Ontario. We don't get directly hit by the hurricanes. Those tend to hit the coast of the US. The
Yeah.
Maritimes are far enough up. But when those hurricanes hit down in the States, the winds and the rains, you can tell when there's big winds up here or the rain comes down extra hard. So kind of like you, it we get the tail end, but not directly in the path. Rarely do we get tornadoes. It's a big hoo-ha if one hits in way up here in Ontario. They happen, but not often, thankfully. And I did
Yeah.
want to ask because, again, I mean, we're talking about somewhere halfway, well, about halfway around the world. So, and you're
Yes.
down towards the equator. So, very different things that you need to be mindful of in a day
Hmm.
versus the kind of weather that we need to pay attention to. So, I'm
Yeah.
just going to catch up a bit on the comments. Okay, not nearly as much. Oh, okay, the climbing. Never want to be polite. It's adorable. Thought they only grew gross things. Okay, Rocky's adorable, so that must be a character from the book. Not my kind of book. Glad you enjoyed it. Yeah, I'm still not sure about it, but I do know I've heard a bit. Can't hate it because it isn't smutty. Poor turtles, yeah. Seagulls, sea going for popcorn, full on. Yeah. And we have seagulls here too, and we have them here in the city, partly because humans throw stuff everywhere. So they're around parking lots, definitely around the fast food restaurants and stuff. And of course, down at the beach. Think you got us. Oh, okay. This is to Jenny. We know what you read with Noah and Ven. So that would be their genre of books. Do they have big broods or just a handful of little baby turtles? So, William, that's for you. So,
Um. Usually, I would say maybe at the high 50s, as high as in the 50s. It could be as low as in the 20s.
oh, wow. Yeah, because, and again, like Cat, I've only seen it on TV. So they seem to lay quite a few eggs. And then, of course, it depends how many of the little ones actually make it into the water. And then they've got the predators out there to worry about. Fourth wing's not, yeah. Fourth wing, that was once was a good enough read for me. Um, Nature seems off her meds lately. That's in relation to the weird weather we're all having. Guilty pleasure event. Oh, okay, this is about the books. Working for a boss, bad enough. Working for a bad boss is miserable. Yeah, agreed. Glad you found an alternate. Saying hi to Mrs. Williams. So when you were calling off, saying goes, people don't leave bad jobs, they leave bad bosses. Love, yeah, I love thunderstorms as well. I mean, now for me, it's a different experience than Kat. Kat lives in a tornado area. So a thunderstorm for her means having to be prepared to go into a basement, although they don't have full basements like I have here. They have little shelters. I can enjoy a thunderstorm and the light show, and I don't have to worry that's going to be followed by a tornado. But there's the other question. Do you have basements in Indonesia?
um,
Or are your houses
the
kind of one floor?
the short answer, is no. We don't have basements,
Okay.
but um, with our modern buildings like malls and offices, there could be some underground floors. So the work buildings could have some underground or semi underground. And what I mean by semi underground is Sometimes you get off a ground floor, but then there's another floor beneath that, but it also has access to the surface. It's weird, like semi submerged floors
Yep.
for office buildings, so the urban areas. But for houses, we don't have basements. We do have like houses on stilts, on
Okay.
the legs,
Yep.
and those low legs, sometimes tall legs, but the low legs, sometimes people like use those things for like storage. Like if they're a fisherman, they might drag out their boat from under the house.
Mm.
Or if it's like something like a mat for drying herbs, like
Yep.
they dry cloves out in the sunshine, so then
Mm.
the mat can be rolled up and then stored under the house. So there's like this open area under the house, and sometimes they put fencing around it and then enclose pigs in it. So
Oh,
so there's like that space under the house for some houses. Mine
yeah.
not. We do have that, but we don't. Traditionally, Indonesian houses don't have basements.
Okay. Now, because it's warm there, do you ever need to have some type of a heating system or a furnace, or do your temperatures never really get cold? Like you'd have the damp because of the rain, but that would be different than, say, a winter here.
Right, right. The weather here is actually very nice up in the mountains. In the coast, it can get very hot,
Mm,
so we don't need to war. We don't need to stay warm in coastal areas. Once you go to the mountains, once you go up into the mountains, and this is not just where I live, but
yeah,
several islands in Indonesia where there are very tall mountains. Once you get into the mountainous areas, we don't. I have, from my observation, we don't. We don't have heating systems, but we
right.
do have warm clothes. So at night we do go out with jackets and sweaters.
Yeah.
Um, at night it can the temperature can drop. The village in the city where I live, uh, the coldest temperature that's recorded here can get as low as 12 degrees Celsius.
Mm,
And those people, they often at night they wear their jackets. Otherwise, they start a fire. They have fireplaces. So we don't have heating. We don't have indoor heating,
mm,
but we do have houses with chimneys and fireplaces.
yeah.
So
That,
that is interesting. That's often the postcard thing you'll see for Christmas and so on. In Indonesia, we don't have basements, but we do have fireplaces. Yes.
there you go. And see, for you, it would probably be more, you need something for cooling in those really hot seasons.
Yeah. Yeah. Air conditioning, fan.
Yeah.
But yeah, sometimes air conditionings are expensive. So
Mm,
we just open the windows and turn our fans at full speed.
yeah.
I have a
And
fan up here.
yeah, and I prefer a fan, oscillating fan. A lot of places, well, a number of places here have like central air conditioning because especially now with the climate being what it is, so people have air conditioning.
Mm,
I no, we have a unit that we put in the window, but we only bought it a couple years ago because Zena, my one cat, had asthma and she's since passed, but the summers for her were just getting to be way too much. So we had one room that was nice and cool, but if not for Zena, we wouldn't have got even the one air conditioning unit. So that comes out in the wintertime and just goes in the spring. But our temperatures don't get anywhere near heat wise what you would have there. So yeah,
mm.
it is different. So Jenny's saying we get freezing, but sunny, warm, and overcast. You get seasons, changes. Yeah, here it's been up and down within a week. It's been crazy. Wagtail sounds adorable. Yeah, those would be cute. 17,000. That the number of islands. There you go. With the question, what's the why is prettiest thing in nature always the most dangerous? Yeah,
Mm,
sometimes that's true. They look gorgeous. And now you said you had poisonous plants. Oh, and actually, I'll just catch up because we're almost there. Lure you in with pretty. They can be lazy. It's still pet the leopard. Yeah, you would, cat. 12's your lowest. That's already too warm for Jenny, and still light jacket weather. And that's the other is because we get used to our own seasons. I remember when I was 16, we went to England and the weather's very different there. And it was December. Everyone's walking around with their scarves and their heavy coats and their mittens, and they're all bundled up. And I had on my light fall coat. I'm like, what are you people doing? But for them, it was frigid cold. Me being hardy Canadian, it was like, a fall day kind of. And again,
right.
so we get so used to different things in our own temperature and whatnot. But
Hmm.
hey, we haven't chatted books yet, which is fine because we've chatted a lot of interesting things. But, well, no, we did start talking about books when we talked about your channel and that. And you said you have diverse reading and spread out. What kinds of things are you reading now?
Okay, so I haven't bought any. Let's talk about books. I haven't bought any books since October, but I have been gifted books, which is a lot of fun. So last
It is.
December, my friend from India got me three books. The first two I've already read. I talked about it in my on my birthday live stream,
Yeah.
and I made a review for the second book of the three. I'm on the third one, which is this, The Immortals of Meluha by Amish. He doesn't give his full name.
Ah,
And
okay.
this is a retelling of Hindu mythology. So,
Mm,
uh, what if? So, this is what the book is. So, what if the Hindu deities, the Hindu gods, were all based off of just regular people uh,
mm,
who did heroic deeds, and as a result of heroic deeds, they became legendary, and some even had hidden superpowers. So this is a retelling of Hindu mythology. Book is a series. I just got one. This is the first one, but the other two in the trilogy, my friend is has already bought them for me, and he's going to bring them here. And it's not even Christmas yet, so I'm very
nice.
happy about that. I get to read the rest of the series. So it's fantasy. It's Hindu gods as regular
Mm,
human beings. So that's interesting. And at first, I was like worried that I was a little bit worried because I don't know the story of the Hindu gods. I don't know
yeah.
anything about their mythology. So I
Mm,
thought, will I be reading about stuff assuming I already know this stuff? But
yeah.
no, no. This is in English, so he introduces it to me very slowly, with no assumption that I already know it. So that's good.
Nice.
That's good. So starting off, he doesn't write it as if the reader already knows his religion. So
Yeah.
that's good. That's good. Um, so yeah, I'm gonna get the other two in this series,
Nice.
and I went to and my daughter brought home a book from school, which was a school reading project.
Yeah.
Jane Eyre by Charlotte Bronte. This is a
Oh,
classic.
okay.
Um, I wasn't going. This wasn't on my TBR, but getting a free book, getting a gift from my daughter, I thought,
Nice.
why not? I will read that. That I will read this eventually, but not now.
Yeah.
And I'm still reading The Tale of Genji, but I'm putting it on pause because frankly, the soap opera stuff gets a little old, so I'm taking a
Mm,
break from it.
yeah.
It's these silly little silly little domestic dramas that you get tired of if you read, if it just goes on and on and on and on.
Yeah.
Uh, but I still want to finish it. I
Yep.
just need an extended break from it before I get back to it.
Yep.
And yeah, that's what I'm currently reading. So I have another two books on the way. It might slow down my reading of Genji because immediately after reading this, I want to read the other two.
Nice.
And that's just me speaking really fast about what I'm currently reading.
Now, have you read any Charlotte Bronte before?
No, no, I haven't read many classics before. Um, I I if we're talking about like um, if we're talking about 19th century authors with a little bit of edge, I have read The Last Man by Mary Shelley. But I haven't read a lot of other 19th century literature. I read one Joseph Conrad book.
See, I haven't read Joseph Conrad. I have read Frankenstein by Mary Shelley just a couple years ago, actually. Finally, just read Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde a few
Mm.
years ago. Like I've seen the movies, but haven't read the works. Haven't read anything by Bronte. Classics, Dracula. Just read Carmilla, which was actually written before Dracula. But I think Dracula is definitely the bigger known vampire of any of them, and yet Carmilla was first. So, and then, I mean, I like H.G. Wells. I've finally read some Jules Verne, but Wells I definitely prefer, like War of the World.
Oh,
Yep,
H.G. Wells is on my wish list, and I did read a Jules Verne book last year. I made a review, Paris in the
nice.
20th Century. So I'm just mentioning that because I saw some overlap. So
Yeah, for sure. And so, yeah, some of the classics I've read, but not a lot of the ones that most people talk about. Like I say, I've never read Bronte. I hear other people talk about her works. It's just not something I'm drawn to. And I haven't really tried out some of that reading. So one of these days I may get to it. Ven and Leslie have joined us, and just going to catch up on the comments. Oh, Jenny's throwing out her sister, but we'll have to find out why. Okay. Books on BookTube, blasphemy. I know it's rare for us to get there on any of the streams. Hey, Leslie. Oh, I love that picture. Look at your fancy hair. Jenny, books are for hoarding, not reading. Well, you got to read some of them, Leslie. They look pretty, but the other part is reading. Or, sorry, Jenny, but the other part's reading. Where are you going to put that third bookcase? May have to get a smaller bed, throw out my clothes, or throw out my sister. You know, you might have too many books when you got to get to those options. Boggles my mind you have dressers since you don't have closets. Yeah, that's it. Because, yeah, some houses don't have them. Ven just got home, be lurking. Background, Spawn requires feeding, so he's got the little one with him. Never had one and managed. Maybe read Genji the same way you watch sitcoms, one episode a day. Yep, space it out.
yeah, yeah.
How'd you like Lion King? Oh, has Ven actually watched it? Oh, nope, not watched it yet. Off today, other than going over some investigations. Then he's got the little Spawn. Woo! Payday tomorrow. So boo. Book shopping. Yeah, none of us can compete with your numbers, Jenny, even combined. Pretty covers. Can't compete. Okay, mine's not that bad. I think I'm at, well, Kat would know accurately. Yeah, see, I agree. Can probably catch me. And see, today, believe it or not, I'm missing a 50% off sale at the thrift store. But it's a Friday and I don't have a ride. Kat was funny. She's like, well, can't you take a cab? I'm like, I could, but that would eat up the money I saved on books. So no,
Hmm.
not shopping, and that's okay because I've been out
I
a
haven't bought
few.
any books since October.
Yeah, that no, that I couldn't do, William. I just no. My thrift store, the deals are too good, and when I can get a book for 70 cents, and especially if sometimes they're those chunky monkeys like Stephen King and others, yeah, that's where I'm going. No, not going with hubby when he gets home. The stuff I like, well, some of it might be there because I tend to go for like the ghost stories and other stuff most people aren't looking for,
I
but
would I would actually buy more books if secondhand books were more available to me here, but there
mm,
we don't have much of a reading culture here. I could get secondhand books from my local online seller. So it's sort of like a Indonesian Amazon or eBay
yeah,
or something. They're based in Java, and
mm.
so most of my books that I do buy, at least in the years past, were from the local online seller.
Oh, nice. Well, see, and that would be another factor as well, because I mean, my thrift store is a 10-minute drive up the road. So easy to get to, and a lot of people thankfully unhaul their books. Bonus for me because they're new to me and I don't need brand spanky new. Which, hello, Eva, thanks for joining. I mean, and that's why, and I put it here on purpose. I picked up the second copy of the Urantia book. I mean, for
Mm.
$4, there is no way I was letting that sit on the shelf. The spine is in perfect condition, it's in immaculate condition,
Wow.
and it'll make reading the Urantia book a different
Hmm.
experience because this is an indexed edition. So
Ooh, I'm
it's
so
going to be
jealous. I don't
different.
have that one.
Yeah, well, it's going to be different than the other. And I'm going to, yes, I do have my little sticky tabs. So
Mm.
it's divided into the central and supernatural universes, the
Yeah.
local universe, the history of Urantia, and then the life and teachings of Jesus. So
Yep.
I may read this copy
Hmm.
and keep it pristine and do my annotating in the other copy. I just find
Ah.
it funny that I waited for decades to find this sucker. And then I
Yeah.
finally got it for my birthday because my husband got it. I'm like, dude, out of the 5 books, that was the one I wanted. So I
Yeah.
got that one. And then just like a month later, because I've never seen this at the thrift store before, but I will
Right.
keep one copy pristine and then the
Okay.
other one for annotating because I mean it's a lot of stuff to think about and absorb. I mean, this isn't going to be a quick,
Yeah.
well, not just because it's a chunker, but because of the
Can I?
material, it's you need time to process what you're
Oh
reading.
yeah, for sure. Can I ask? Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
What is your relationship with spiritual literature? Like, when you read it, do you like? Do you like pick and choose what you believe in, what you don't believe in? Like for me, spirituality. When I study religion and when I study books
Yep.
that are claimed from a new supernatural source, for me it's like a academic or scientific study in
Mm,
what other people think, and then there are like pearls of wisdom that I get from it. Oh yes, I can relate to this, but I don't believe in the claims that it's making,
Hmm.
etc., etc. But this piece of advice I get here, I can live with that. I like that. So for me, it's like an academic study, and this for why people believe what they believe, and finding little bits and pieces of wisdom.
Mm-hmm.
What is your relationship with spiritual literature, if I may ask?
Yeah, you can, and I can actually, I'll do this.
Okay.
So this whole shelf are all my
Yes.
pagan books.
Hmm.
So that all relates to pagan beliefs, pagan spirituality.
Yeah.
This whole shelf, I have my 2 copies of the Bible, which I've
Yeah.
just purchased within the last couple years because of the Da Vinci spiral, because that
Yeah.
all relates to various beliefs. There's all kinds of other things here, the Cathars, the Gnostics, a couple of textbooks on religions and spirituality that I found at the thrift store. The
Right.
Urantia book tie-in is because of 2 books that I've read by Timothy Wiley.
Okay.
Now, I have my personal beliefs. It's earth-centered, creative being. I don't have a name, creative being, and that's my foundation.
Right.
Everything else I read is of interest. It's food for thought. I tweak. I think about it. If some of it fits, I keep it. If it doesn't, I don't. And yeah, so I just enjoy reading. And I think part of it because my background's in psychology, I just
Right.
enjoy reading about the different things. I mean, I picked up, and it was interesting when I got it, the Malus Maleficarum, the witch's hammer. And when I
Hmm.
was buying it, the clerk's like, why would you want to read that? And I'm like, because I want to know what inspired people to basically lose their mind and go around killing a bunch of people based on a book.
Yeah.
And in order to process more of understanding about the burning times and all of that, you actually need to read the document that kicked it all off, so to speak. And I've never seen a copy of that before. So I just enjoy reading that type of thing.
Hmm.
Um, any of the books, whether it's, the pagan books, the other books, just to get different viewpoints and ideas. And the more that I read, the more that I realize it's essentially all saying the same thing. But because
Yeah.
humans are not all exactly the same, they speak different to different people, which makes it available to other people. Um, the problem is when you get into the fanatics of my way or the highway BS. I'm always happy to show them the highway, and the sooner you get there, the better. But the more that you read and are exposed to the different beliefs, the more you realize they're essentially all saying the same thing, which makes it bizarre when you think of how many times that has been used to annihilate so many other people.
Yeah.
It's but yeah, so I find it fascinating. And Urantia I really do want to get into because of the 2 books that I read by Timothy Wiley over probably 15 or more years ago now. And he
Mm.
talks about the Urantia book. And actually, I could narrow down exactly when I read it because when I started looking for the book, the individual who channeled this work had just passed away, like within a year or 2. And I've read Jane Roberts, the material she's channeled from Seth. And it doesn't mean I 100% believe everything. I wonder about
Right.
people who channel and what they're listening to and tapping into. but it's still food for thought.
Yeah,
And
I agree.
that brings up, and I found Michael Shermer thanks to just being at the thrift store and someone thankfully unhauled his work. And that book was called Why People Believe Weird Things. And it was a
Okay.
fascinating read. And it also talked about the Holocaust deniers, as in,
Oh,
well, but it was an important discussion because, I mean, we have history, it happened, and yet there are people who think it didn't. And then Michael Shermer wrote the foreword of this. I just got it from the library. It's UFOs, Chemtrails, and Aliens, What Science Says. This is by Donald Prothero and Timothy Callahan. Now, if you're easily offended, it's probably not a good book to pick up because they don't mince words about some people are just farking stupid.
right.
And when you're reading things, there are red flags you should be paying attention to. But you
Oh, the
need,
same with the Urantia book. Same.
oh, anything. But so in here they're talking about, well, I'm only a little bit into it, but they've been talking about different things with the UFOs and Area 51. And the one author's father actually worked at Area 51. So the
Right.
point that they're making is even when you outright give people the facts, they still want to believe their conspiracies for whatever reason, whether it's they've got issues or they just don't trust the government. And the excellent point that they make is because now of social media, when a lot of these folks would have just been kind of babbling to themselves or a few people, now you've got people out there reaching hundreds, thousands, and millions spreading misinformation. Perfect
Right.
perfect example is Mr. Luis Elizondo. I mean, reading that book, there were red flags all over the place. And,
Right.
then I started this other library book, American Cosmic UFOs, Religion, Technology. This is by D.W. Paz- Pasulka, I think.
Mm.
Now, I started reading this, and right in the beginning, he's mentioning Whitley Strieber and a few others who are not reliable sources. So, again, red flags. So, I may or may not finish this book. We'll see. But so, to tie in with your question, for me, it's not just when I read about spirituality. When I read about anything, and that's the
Yeah.
beauty of being in my 60s and having mostly read nonfiction, you have to use critical thinking, whatever you're reading about. And
Mm.
you need to be mindful of red flags and what is the author's motivation? Have they done their research? Are they just promoting this because, another perfect example is all the books about 2012, which of course no one's talking about now because they're done, right? But I mean, people were cashing in huge on end of the world and all that kind of stuff. Um,
Yeah.
and people fall for it. People fall for it because they don't do the research, they don't do the critical thinking. And I mean, as these authors mentioned too, with the UFO flaps, as they're called, and
Mm.
everything else. And they refer back to Wells's broadcast, A War of the Worlds,
Yeah.
because it was set in New Jersey. People were listening to it. They didn't catch that it was just an adaptation of H.G. Wells, and people were losing their minds. not quite to the extent that, some have said. It also talks about media and the role that they play in getting this misinformation out there. And, between that and social media, like people really need to stop and think
Yeah.
before opening their checkbook and just being a dumbass. And because I followed paranormal channels and that, I mean, it blows my mind the number of people who just hook, line, and sinker believe this crap and are sending money. And it's like, how could you be that stunned? Like and the debunkers, there's a lot of them now. It's like, how many times do you have to see that this person is full of BS
Yeah.
instead of realizing they're just taking you for your money? You keep sending your money and arguing with the people who have pointed out the facts and showing you how the grift is happening. It's like, but okay, what else do we? Okay, they're talking tarts, cakes. What have I missed here? Wait, that was that book was good for Crucible. Papa Dragon better know what that is. He might know what Crucible is. All right, what do we have? Tart has no lid. Pies baked with lid. Oh, okay, they're talking. Oh, see? Food talk, but not rice. How do we feel about creating a chaos cake? Bonus. And I just said no rice, and Ven's like rice cake. Who gets the spicy layer? Noah for not being here. Tart strictly non-top fruit pie. Regular pie can be topped creamy. Oh, key lime. Sounds good. Are pies a big thing in Indonesia, William?
Pies. Um, no. There is pastry shops where they sell. There is a local chain here called Holland Bakery.
Oh yeah.
So we don't have pies per se, but we do like our cakes. We do know that's not traditional food, but there is a significant enough community that likes to go to Holland Bakery to have these buns stuffed with chocolate or cheese.
Ooh, those sound delicious. Streusel, flour, oats, butter, brown sugar. Can't get to bake into proper texture. Common with crumble topping. Yeah, streusel, love streusel. So, I mean, I bake my own pies from scratch and other things. Streusel, no way, because they're the cute little knotted over, and it's a whole different kind of pastry versus just a nice basic pie crust. General variation of the crumble. Weird tarts and almost flat instead of a deep pie crust. Fruit instead of tossed in. Ooh. Leave a lot of things, especially tarts, have a strong Okay, custard. Oh, I love custard. Don't have to be flat. Great example. Portuguese, basically a custard tart in a flaky pastry case, but open topped. All right, interesting. Do you like, yeah, I like custard too. Buttermilk pie. Never used buttermilk. Yeah, that's buttermilk is an acquired taste, and I have not acquired a taste for it. But yes, I agree. It is good. Biscuits, pancakes. Coconut buttermilk pie. Never had that. Sending money. I'm in the, yeah, me too, Leslie. I need to come up with a fake paranormal channel. I live in a haunted house and throw things around, and it's crazy the amount of money people will send for that. Yeah, I wish someone would send me money. Yeah, same. Still trying to get money back. Oh, from IRS. Yeah, I have to call our revenue people on Monday to get my password so I can do my taxes. Key lime pie. Have you had key lime pie, William?
Not yet. I was in Florida in 2014, but I've never gotten the opportunity to try it.
Yeah, I've never had it. I know Kat likes it, and I think she actually makes her own. Is there any? Oh, there you go. Is there any book genre that you won't read?
Um, no. There's stuff that I'd read less likely read because of assumptions behind it, like
Mm,
what you're going to expect from it. Like, for example, romance. But that's not an outright no.
yeah.
So if I hear about a book that has something interesting by reputation, and then there's the genre attached to it, I say, okay, I don't care about the genre. I want to read it just because there's this one interesting plot element. So
Mm,
I'm less likely to read romance, for example, but that's not an outright no. So there's some genres I'm less likely to read, but if some stand out for something interesting or an interesting plot point, something that everyone's talking about, I say, okay, I'll pick it up to find out what it is everyone's saying. So, and I will disregard the genre.
right. Okay. So you're saying you haven't bought a book since October, haven't been book
Yes.
shopping. Do you make use of the library?
I have the local library. That's where I was working at. I haven't visited it in a while because of memories attached to it.
No, yeah, yeah.
I'm technically allowed to go back there, but I'm just like really resentful that I was bullied out of the job.
Yeah, that would make it a challenge. Yeah, see, between buying books, I also use my library partly to keep those books in circulation because it's creepy how few books there are now in the library. And I've gone to the same one for, well, damn, almost 40 years. Yeah, it'll be almost 40 years it'll be 40 years in a couple years that I've gone to the same branch since I've been up here in the city. But there are fewer and fewer books each time I go. And I mean part of that's because books are now audiobooks, ebooks, which is great for patrons who have technology, but not everybody does. And that's what really concerns me with the physical books actually disappearing. So I typically grab physical books. But yeah, I could see why it would be hard with the job for you to want to go in there and make use of that for sure. Oh, and then couscous. It's still not
I have
rice.
some,
Go ahead.
yeah. I want to say that I take advantage of my parents' bookshelves. My parents are divorced, so they live
Uh,
separately,
yep.
but I'm welcome to visit them anytime and
Nice.
take out any book from their bookshelves. So the lines between who owns what book in my family is actually very blurred. So I
Nice.
take advantage of my parents' bookshelves to read more.
That's good. So you have access to a variety of things, which is a nice bonus as well. Can't go wrong with anything key lime, lime in general. Lime's key. Excuse me. Want to get streusel? Oh no, streusel and strudel. Okay, maybe I'm thinking strudel with the one crop. Okay, pretty pastry is the strudel. There you go. So see, I even had streusel wrong. I tell you, morning, even though it's almost 10:30. Lime's very much the key. Want to make pecan? Oh, yeah, pecans are not inexpensive. Try the entire genre. Yeah, on social media, exactly. Pecan's one of the cheap ones. Ooh, pecan tree in Georgia. Yeah, they're well known for that. Same. Spicy. Oh, spicy nuts again. And yeah, Kat makes her own and she uses cayenne pepper in them. I'd be like, no, I wouldn't be able to eat those. Toxic work environment will do that. Yeah. And that's the unfortunate thing. Sometimes you love the job, you love what you're doing, but politics, red tape, and douchebags definitely
Yeah.
can ruin that for sure. How are you doing for time, William? Because we're up to an hour and a half. You're doing good.
Um. Yeah. My wife called from down the stairs earlier,
Yep.
and she said she brought some food for me to eat. So I'm looking forward to that. Um. But yeah, it's been an hour and a half. I can probably go on for another half hour if you want, depending on if you have anything else to ask me. So I'm good for half an hour, but I am
Okay.
looking forward to the meal downstairs waiting for me.
Yeah, no kidding. So, I mean, you don't want it to get cold in that, but there are so many fascinating things to talk about in terms of books and so many different things just in terms of Indonesia, like your weather. It's to many of us listening very different because we don't live on an island and all the rest of that. But so you were saying with the genre, you would try anything. Now, we did get to who you enjoyed with science fiction. Who's your
Yes.
favorite thriller writer?
Um. Like I said, I had that four of them. I
Yep.
can't decide. I would say Robert Harris. He's the one who writes the thrillers. Um, Robert Ludlum is more cookie cutter, so I would read those books as like filler to if I was waiting somewhere, for example. I find his books like always the same with the same tropes.
Mm.
They're okay, but I do enjoy it for whatever reason, even though they don't offer a lot of new things for me. So Robert Ludlum's second, but Robert Harris would be the first thriller author. There are some other science fiction books that I have read, but they're not by my favorite authors
Mhm.
because I haven't read three or more
Uh,
individual works.
right. Now, for thriller, then, what would be your favorite thriller?
Um, that's a good question. Well, my all-time favorite book is not by one of my favorite authors, which is a
Okay.
historical fiction called Musashi. I do love those long Japanese epics,
Okay.
Asian classics. Um, so that's my favorite all-time favorite book. My all-time favorite thriller. My second favorite book is a thriller. It's Fatherland by Robert Harris. It's an
Okay.
alternative history,
Yeah.
and it is a police. It is a thriller. It is a police detective procedural murder mystery. So
Mm.
I like that one.
Okay.
Set in an alternate timeline.
Now, what is it about the first one that makes it your top? Is it the culture that it talks about? Is it the writing style?
um, I wasn't much of a reader. Okay, I think it's because of the excuse me, the nostalgic and the beautiful literature that introduced me to reading. So
Oh,
before I read Musashi, which is a historical fiction about a Japanese samurai. Um,
oh,
before Musashi, I wasn't much of a reader. I only read books that were given to me as school projects.
hmm.
So it wasn't my choice to read those books. And
Okay.
then the teacher tries to say, okay, what do these sentences, what sort of emotions do these evoke in you? Can you dive deeper into these character studies and dynamics, etc., etc.? And then I thought, you're forcefully trying to get me to get a profound moment. So
Mm,
once I read Musashi by myself without anyone telling me to read it,
right.
I had a profound moment reading the book without someone telling me to have a profound moment reading it.
Gotcha.
So that's why I like that book so much. It introduced me to the joy of reading. It's also very beautifully written, relatable characters, very immersive, and
Nice.
the descriptions of the weather and the landscapes from the 1600s. I really like that, as
Mm,
well as introducing me to the politics of the time. Uh, it really educated me as to what the life was like there, and the characters are very relatable.
nice. Well, so, and like you're saying, it was something you found joy in on
Yeah.
your own. And
Yes.
that was one thing that I found because a lot of the students that I worked with were resistant readers or struggling readers.
Yeah.
And it was always nice to see when they would find a book about something that they enjoyed. And then when they finally put some of that resistance aside and develop their skills, watching them get excited about reading for the joy
Yeah.
of reading, not because, we've got to do this book or do this novel study, whatever. And it sounds like that book for you was like Harry Potter, Twilight, or some of the things over here. A lot of the students, it wasn't that they were studying it in school, it's they were having fun reading about a wizard. And that's the
Yeah.
other important thing too, is I think there's so many different things out there to inspire and get people reading. And in school, part of it, of course, is to look at the story, think about it, and all of that. Whereas the way it's presented in a class can either really inspire students to get excited about reading or
Yeah.
really turn them off of reading because it's viewed in a different way rather than enjoyment and pleasure.
Yeah.
But I mean, that critical thinking part really needs to get enforced more because there's just, like I said, so much with social media out there. And sometimes people don't bother researching or thinking about either what they're watching or even with what they're reading, because just because a book is nonfiction and published does not make it fact. It just means it's nonfiction and published. It
Yeah.
like I will go back to the stuff with 2012. I mean, we're still here, and yet a lot of those books were saying, oh, we're going to be gone December 21st, 2012. And it's like, no. So, I think that, and like you said, with the Urantia book as well, and there's a number of different things I've read by people who claim to be in touch with the higher ups there and getting information is, again, you need to take that stuff. I wouldn't say with a grain of salt, I'd say with a pound of salt. Like you really
Mhm.
need, and that's why I say you need to process what you're reading. And of course, that's all going to be impacted by your own foundation, the people around you, who you discuss it with. I mean, I enjoy the buddy reads and group reads because everyone comes at a book from a different place, whether it's
Yeah.
that expectation going in, which, to be honest, I might read the two Timothy Wiley books again. I've read them before, but it's been a while. But I may actually read them again before I get into the Urantia books. We'll see. Because, yeah, I'm looking for that. How do they tie in? Because a lot of the stuff he talks about was based on his belief from this work.
Yeah.
But in order to understand where he's coming from, I need to read the work. Same as the Da Vinci Code. And the reason that I have two copies of the Bible, it's actually kind of sad how, like, there's tons at the thrift store all the time. But the reason that I picked up the Bible is because so many of the different things I'm reading about, not just with Da Vinci, always have these references back, but authors cherry pick. And if you don't include the whole quote or the whole section, context matters. So, in
Yeah.
order to understand what someone's saying, oh, based on this from this section of the Bible, you need to know what was going on in that whole section of the Bible and go, wait a minute, how did you come up with this, you know, particular conclusion? So, yeah, going back again to the question you asked, like when I'm reading, I mean, if it's fiction, I just want to lose myself in the book. I don't want to overthink anything because that's
Yeah.
why I'm reading fiction. But when I'm reading nonfiction, whether it's astronomy, any of the belief systems, genetics, quantum physics, all the stuff I get into, if it's nonfiction, then I'm thinking, I'm connecting to other authors, this is a red flag. How the hell did they come up with this? And better yet, how did this get published as nonfiction? So, yeah,
Mm.
that kind of for me and that's why I like the physical books. And I have my book murder title. For me, reading is a very immersive, you get involved experience, right?
Right.
It's the book in the hand, it's the sticky notes, it's the highlighters, it's a whole same as book shopping. I need to be in the store, I want to see the titles, and so many of the titles that I found from the thrift store I would never have bought online because they just weren't authors or titles that I knew about. So I wouldn't have found them if I hadn't been wandering around the shelves and the different sections of
See,
books.
that's why I miss secondhand bookstores.
Yeah,
When I pick up books from the internet, it's because I've known them by reputation, not
yep,
because it's out of a random selection.
yeah. So bookstores like Goodwill or that isn't a thing in the village. Is a village that you're in, William? Very
City,
close
Tomohon.
to?
Um, no, we do, not as far as I know. We might. The closest thing I would say to a secondhand bookstore um, is a is textbook a bookstore for textbooks for
Mm,
school. So maybe, for example, there's a book about mathematics for a student
yeah.
from a student from a local school, primary school, high school, etc., and then it's resold. So
Mm,
we do have, if I recall correctly, we do have some bookstores with secondhand school textbooks, but we
yeah.
don't have any for novels.
Oh. Yeah, see, and well, what gets me is the bookstore that I go to that I've been getting oodles of books the last few years for amazing prices. I used to drive by every day for 7 or 8 years because I worked at the schools just up the street, but had never gone in to go get books there. So I was
Right.
laughing with my husband. I'm like, wow, could you imagine how many books I'd have now if I'd stopped there when I was getting my old paycheck? I mean, I'd have a whole room packed with with books. But on the other hand, I also think we find books when we're meant to get them and can get the most out of them. I mean, the Urantia book is a perfect example. I've been looking for that sucker for over 15 years. And,
Right.
I'd looked online in that, and for some reason, nothing aligned. And then suddenly, boom, I've got two copies. One I can read and one I can, do my sticky note and annotate
Yeah.
and such.
Yeah.
But well, this has been a lovely chat. We've learned a lot about you and Indonesia and your reading. It's been a
It has.
great time. Oh, I just want to, Kat has a comment. Oh, she wanted to like Ludlum, loved the plot, hated his style. Yeah. Oh, there you go. She's got a new author to look for. I think my husband's read Ludlum because he's into that, like Ludlum, Preston and Child, Grisham, all those kinds of things. I don't read.
That's why I'm sometimes sort of embarrassed admitting it, because they're called dad books for a reason.
Hey, Kat reads them. She's not a dad.
That's true. That's true.
We all enjoy reading different things for sure.
Yeah, yeah.
Now, was there anything else you wanted to share before we wrap up?
Um, I don't know. Maybe with just before we wrap up,
Yep.
maybe a question like, maybe based on my preferences, or maybe in despite my preferences, I'm just suggesting. I'm just
Yep.
spitballing. Maybe you could suggest, like, recommend something I read, for me to read, like, William, you should get out of your comfort zone and read this, or based on your preference, you should read this. I don't know, if I may.
Oh, there's a lot of books I could suggest. Okay. You said you like thrillers, so more like a spy type thing, right? Are you much of a
Yes,
horror reader?
I've read several Stephen King novels, and like four non-Stephen King horrors.
Okay. I would suggest, if you can find him,
Hmm.
Michael McDowell.
Okay.
And you don't necessarily have to get this one, but it's close by and I can show you. This Michael McDowell is considered Southern Gothic.
Okay.
Blackwater is
Okay.
6 novellas, or you can get, as my hubby got me, the awesome combo. But he's also written The Amulet and Cold Moon Over Babylon. So if you want a good scare and you want to see nasty people get theirs in detail,
Hmm.
they're a great read.
Okay. All right. I'll look it up.
I read him in high school. He's as scary and amazing all these decades later. And like I say, he's considered Southern Gothic, but he's very graphic. And yeah, I'm not usually a graphic horror type person, but there's no animals ever in his books. So
Good to know.
Michael McDowell.
All right. All right. I will. I'll Google search him later.
Yeah, there you go. And see, I would say, who would you recommend for me? But I'm already working through Urantia. But do you have an
Ah,
author?
okay. Thanks.
No, do you have somebody else?
Uh, do I have what? Like
A
somebody else I would like to read?
recommendation?
Sorry.
A recommendation?
Oh, recommendation. Oh, where to begin? Yeah. Um. Okay. There is a lesser known book series that doesn't get enough attention on BookTube,
Okay.
and I want it to be in the forefront. So there is an author named. This is my favorite series. I've read the original 8, but it's now been recast into a much longer series.
Uh-huh.
There's a British author named David Wingrove who wrote a series about who wrote a dystopian sci-fi series called Chung Kuo. So that's the English translation is Middle Kingdom.
Okay, I
And
have
he
to
wrote a
see.
really long series, which is a very fascinating read. And I think here on BookTube it doesn't get enough attention. It might not be your style, but it's fascinating. It's about a future where China has conquered the whole world and
Hmm.
built a city on top of it, a giant hive-like city, and the complex politics and stuff about it, I really found fascinating. That series and that author, in my opinion, does not have enough love here on on YouTube.
I'll have to check that out for sure. I'll see if my library has a copy. Okay,
David
so
Wingrove. So his first the first one in the series is The Middle Kingdom.
the Middle Kingdom. Okay, I've got it written down, and I will see if I can track that down. Of course, I've already got the Urantia there, so it'll take me a little bit.
All right.
Kat saying Jason Bourne, love the movies. Oh, okay, Ludlam, yep. Last I checked, wasn't a dad. See? Greg saying it's been great, interesting, and informative. So I'm going to say thank you so much, William, for joining me. Thank you to everyone who could join the chat. Some great questions, lots of
Yeah.
interaction. Big
It's
thank
been
you.
fun. It's been fun. I enjoyed talking to you. You're a very engaging person.
Oh, thank you. It was lovely hearing about all the things you had to share and connecting and meeting. And we're going to say thanks so much, everybody, and have a great one.